Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be with you. And welcome to today's weekly Sohbet and Dhikr on this Thursday, July the 29th, 2021. I hope you are well and your families are well and in good spirits wherever you are watching this from. By the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I ask through the blessings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and my sheikhs that I may be able to share something worthwhile with you this evening. One of the things I think is most important after going through such a very testing year, things are starting to return back to normal, alhamdulillah, in the UK. And I've heard some positive news from elsewhere in the world as well. That it would seem that hopefully, Allah willing, this COVID virus is in decline finally, which means that we should, inshallah, be coming to the end of this pandemic soon. But one of the things which this testing time should have taught us is about patience. Today, patience is not something that many people focus upon. We live in a world where everybody has a technology and smartphones, and even it's like in the past, I remember when I was growing up, if there was something we needed, which is not what you would normally be able to buy at your local supermarket or your local shopping center, then my parents would have to go hunting around in different shops, different shopping centers, going to Birmingham or other towns and cities in order to see if they could find the products that they were looking for. And this isn't necessarily always an extravagant product. It could have been something like a baby cot or, something as simple as that. But today has become, very easy to purchase. But there was no IKEA back then, and things were a bit different. And also, if you're on a low budget, you had to price around. But I remember many times when I was younger, my parents would have to go out of Redditch and go to Birmingham or go to Worcester or Kidderminster or somewhere else, trying to find something that they were looking for. Now, today, this is not even on most people's radar, because if there is something that you can't find in your local shops or in the shops in your city centre, you simply go on the internet and find an online seller which has the product. You order it, and within sometimes as little as, or sometimes as soon as tomorrow, or at least within a few days, rarely within a couple of weeks, that product will arrive at your door. Such is the convenience that people have today. And so there's very little that, providing you've got the money to be able to afford it, there is very little that you can't access very quick and easily today. And this is, alhamdulillah, it's a great thing in many ways. It's a blessing, but it's also meant that we've forgotten to be patient. We don't know what it is to be patient anymore, or most people don't. And patience is very important. The Arabic word sabr, describes it, sabr. We say patience in English. You know, not everything we can have in an instant. Or if we're going through some difficulties, not everything that we can go through within an instant. Some things take time to process. Some things take a long time. And, you know, I'm just talking within my lifetime here, the things that I remember as a child, which is a matter of only a few decades ago. Whereas if we go back even further to the time of the Prophet Muhammad, then people would have had to wait for a lot of things. I mean, as simple as this shirt on my back. If I want a shirt like this, I can just go to any kind of clothes shop and they'll have a selection of shirts for me and I can pick one up. Even the supermarket these days, you might find what you're looking for in a supermarket. We forgot, if this was made by hand, it would take a long time. Nowadays, they're mass-produced on machines. And maybe a little bit of stitching around here and there is done with the help of a person controlling a sewing machine. But by and large, this is just manufactured on a machine. And the machine produces lots and lots of this color, like a navy color, lots and lots in green, lots in yellow and white, and just the machine produces loads of them. As long as it's got material to produce them and it's given the order by the company to produce, the machine just produces. But if you are making a shirt like this by hand, it could take you a week or two, depending on how good you are, you know, making this sort of thing. Probably in the past, people were better, so it would be a bit quicker than today. But we've forgotten that. So even the things that I'm wearing here would have taken a lot of work and a lot of time. And so in the past, someone would have gone to a tailor and would have ordered these products. And they'd have been measured, what their size is, and then the tailor would have made these products for them. And maybe it would take them a few weeks to make the product, maybe a month, I don't know. But it wouldn't have happened overnight. I mean, the tailor would probably have some material already made, which would speed up the process. But still, it would take time to make that material into clothes. We forget all of this today. We don't even think about it because we live in a world that's post-industrial revolution. The Industrial Revolution was a time in my country. This is where it actually started, in fact, not far from where I live, where products started to be mass-produced with the help of machines. Initially, those machines would have used water power and then coal power, and eventually they moved on to electricity. But it was a revolution. It completely changed the way people did things. And it's only been a few centuries that we've really felt the effects of this. And in many parts of the world, they've only felt the effects in a shorter space of time because it took longer for some countries to get the benefits of this. But today, we take for granted many things which are mass-produced with the help of machines and technology. Never mind even these digital devices which I'm using to talk to you today. But, you know, it's like even this glass that contains this water. We don't think about how much time and effort it would take to make a glass like that if it was being made by hand without the help of any industrial process. If it was made the traditional way, there would be a lot of work involved. And this is why in the past, people used to have a lot more respect and value for things that they owned. You know, if they had glasses, nice glasses like this, a few hundred years ago, people would have taken a lot more care of them than today because they would have been expensive. They would have took time to be able to manufacture, which is why, they were expensive. And, obviously that it had been probably more difficult to obtain. And it was, it's not like today where, if something is broken, you can just go down to the local supermarket and pick up another box of glasses, and it wouldn't cost you too much. Easily replaced. And this is another thing about today's society. We've become, it's good on the one hand that we have these products that is easy to access and they're not too expensive, but many people today don't appreciate them. We've become a throwaway society. Sometimes even like if people have a set of glasses like this and like this sort of stuff, they'll keep it for maybe 2 or 3 years and then they'll throw it away and replace it with an entirely new design because they decide they want to have a new design. And the same with the furniture in the house. Same with everything, they're just completely changing everything all the time. Very expensive, actually, even in today's money, but people do it if they can afford to. In the past, even if you could afford, even if you were doing well and you were quite rich, you wouldn't have been able to do that. But this has also caused a lot of problems because we wonder where all the environmental damage is coming from. Well, it's coming from this kind of wasteful approach to the world. In order to make this glass, just going back to this glass, you need sand and you need various other minerals that have to be cooked up together in furnaces in order to make this glass. If you want to make this shirt, if it's cotton, that cotton has to be grown. And cotton growing is often quite a destructive process on the environment. In the past, it was very labor intensive. So it meant you needed a lot of workers to be able to harvest that cotton. And often they were not treated well. If this shirt's made of polyester, that polyester comes from oil, which is obviously a very polluting product. It's polluting in the way that it is extracted from the ground or from the ocean floors. Often, there are tankers that are containing oil that spill, or pipelines. And if wherever they spill, it does tremendous damage to the environment. Let alone the processing process also creates pollution. So all of that is going into making these shirts. So whatever price we're paying for them, we have to consider all of this that's going on in the background in order to produce that. And if we just, as a society, we're just using these things, throwing them away, we'll want something else instantly because we've got no patience, so we change our wardrobe and then throw everything away. And it's tremendously destructive to the environment. And it's just meaning that there's more demand to take that oil out of the ground. There's more demand to dig up those minerals. There's more demand to chop down those forests. And we're kind of stuck in a catch-22 now, because if we don't do all of those things, if we don't buy these products, then our economy is so set up on this process that the economy will falter, people will lose their jobs. And this creates tremendous economic problems which people feel in their day-to-day lives. So we've really got ourselves into a pickle as a society. And when I say as a society, I mean the whole world, not just the English or the French or the Americans, but pretty much everybody in the world is affected by this now. Whether it's affected in the sense of they're the consumers that are buying the products and working in those industries, or they're the people that are in places in Africa, Indonesia, other parts of the world where these products are being extracted from the environment. And where this is in less developed countries, then less protections are in place for the people who live around the mines or in those environments. And so they end up suffering because they're not being protected from the exploitative practices of the companies that are involved in these businesses, including, the release of pollutants into the environment, which will inevitably affect the people living close to that environment or drinking from those water sources or growing their crops nearby. It is actually quite troubling when you look into these things. And believe it or not, there's a connection between that and patience, because people today who have the financial ability to be able to buy the things which they want to buy, they just go ahead and, often without thinking of where the products are being produced, without looking at the labels to see if they are buying the most responsibly sourced products. This can help, obviously. I mean, I bought a couple of things as gifts for my family last year, and they were fluffy toys that were made with recycled plastic bottles. So rather than using the raw material from the oil, it was actually recycled plastic bottles. And I've since noticed that some clothes shops are also stocking clothes which are made from recycled plastic bottles. So things are changing. And if you see labels that give you more ethical or environmentally friendly solutions, then you can actually buy those products instead. And this is obviously more beneficial for the environment and for the people living in those areas. So we should be more considerate in our purchases. And I mean, that's one side of it. I wasn't originally taking that direction, but this is what's come through. And it stems from a lack of patience. It stems from a lack of consideration. But patience is important for a lot of reasons. And obviously, emotional well-being, mental well-being, is also connected to our ability to have patience. If we develop the ability to have patience, then when we're faced with difficult circumstances, or something terrible happens within our life, something very upsetting, then we know how to process that. It doesn't mean it's not difficult to process, but we know how to process it, and we can take the time out to do that. We're not expecting instant results. And this is where, practices such as meditation and Dhikr can help. I'm not saying there's the only solutions, but they can help. But also, so can the arts, gardening. There's various things which you can do like this, which help. And again, gardening, growing things, no matter how advanced our society gets, agricultural crops and gardens, they only grow at a certain pace. Plants will only grow at a certain pace. If you sow the crop in the spring, it will crop in, you'll be able to harvest that crop in, late summer, autumn, depending on what it is. If you plant fruit trees, you might have to wait a few years in order to harvest the crop. Because this is still tied to nature instead of industrial manufacturing processes, there's only so much you can speed that up. You have to be patient. And we too, human beings, we are part of nature. we forget this because we manufacture a world around us that's made of artificial man-made things. We live in artificial man-made homes. We use equipment and everything around us is artificial and man-made. We often process our foods into forms which are artificial and man-made, even though they're food and they're made from natural ingredients, hopefully. Then we still process them in ways which they become forms which are not ordinarily natural. I mean, even as simple as a bottle of milk. You know, it doesn't start out as a bottle of milk. It comes from a cow, a box of eggs, even though these are basic ingredients, let alone, you know, when you buy a box of pies or cakes or something, which are already made, they're already processed. So a lot of the things we're not used to dealing with in their original form. I mean, even if you buy like chicken or mincemeat or something like this, it's often already made for you. You don't have to process the killing of the animal, even like seeing it. It's in many parts of the world now, this happens privately. You don't see that part. You don't even see it all, the blood being drained out and all that, which it has to happen in order for you to have meat, in order for you to have any product which is made from meat. And so a lot of people who live in cities today, they feel squeamish about these things. And yet it is perfectly natural. We live in a very convenient world, but we have to be aware that convenience also has implications. It also affects us. And we need to take some time out of all of this convenience and learn how to be patient so that we are able to process things when things don't go to plan. And just like over this past year or so, this year and a half, we've seen how things can suddenly happen which don't go according to plan and can turn our whole world upside down. And when situations happen like that, then you really need to know how to be patient, because things are not going to happen how you want, and things which are out of your control. This is the other thing. We like to think that we're in control of things. But the reality is that it's an illusion. We may have some measure of control over certain things, but overall, the idea of control, it's an illusion. Anything can happen which removes that control from us. If the power was suddenly cut now, there's nothing I can do about it. My phone might still function, but my computer would go down. We would lose this connection. So when things happen like that out of your control, what do you do? A lot of people get angry, because unless you learn how to have patience, a natural human response, which comes from our nafs, which comes from our ego, is that we become angry. Because our illusion has been shattered. Things are happening in a way which we do not expect. So we have to train ourselves to be able to address these things, so that when something happens, which inevitably will, no matter how efficient and perfect our world gets, things will happen. You know, computers will break down, so will phones, so will cars, buses, aircraft. Viruses will come and go. All sorts of things can happen. So unless we are prepared, then how do we deal with these things? And this is what we've seen over this past year and a half. Some people have coped very well, other people less so. And of course, inevitably, the people who have coped better tend to be those that have developed the ability for patience, so they can steer themselves through these difficult times. Anyway, enough talking. Hope there's something that you found useful in these words. If there's any benefit in them, it is from Allah and through the blessings of the Prophet Muhammad and my sheikhs, and any mistakes are my own. Bismillah. I will now move to the Dhikr, inshallah. Before we start any Dhikr or act of worship, we should always check our intentions. I do this by reading a little formula, but the main thing is just checking your heart and making sure that you're doing things purely for the pleasure of Allah. Nawaitu labin, nawaitu dosta, nawaitu kawwa, nawaitu litikaf, nawaitu suluk, nawaitu riyadi lillahi ta'ala fi hada jami. I intend to perform the 40 days of retreat. I intend to retreat in isolation. I intend to retreat in solitude. I intend to perform the retreat. I intend to follow the path. I intend to perform the spiritual practices for Allah the highest in His place of worship. Incidentally, this that we say within the Naqshbandi tariqat, before we, perform our acts of worship, the retreat, this concept of retreat, which you find, it's certainly within Sufism, it's also within Buddhism, within early Christianity, some Christians have returned to, within Judaism, within Hinduism, and a number of spiritual traditions. To take time out to retreat in isolation and solitude, not permanently, but for periods of time. Even we do this when we read a dhikr. Traditionally, I wouldn't be broadcasting like this. We would sit in a group, and for that hour or two, we would retreat from the world and read a dhikr. And then after that, we will come out and we will carry on interacting with the world. It's not a permanent thing. And this is the difference. We're not like some monks, which they permanently retreat from the world. They become like a hermit. We don't believe in this within Islam or within Sufism. This is, there are historically, occasionally, individuals who do that, but this is not recommended within our tradition. It's recommended to live a normal life. But it is also recommended to, at times, retreat, such as some people do during the last days of Ramadan. They will actually retreat in the mosque, in like a little area where they will stay there, and they will, stay away from they will not leave the mosque until after Eid, until after Ramadan has finished. So we have that, and not just during Ramadan. Some people will do it at other times during the year. Some people will go up to the mountains and sit in a cave, like the Prophet Muhammad did. And it's like my first sheikh's sheikh in Pakistan, who retreated to a mountain. There's now a big center up there where that mountain is, but it wasn't there when he retreated there. He just retreated to a cave in the mountain. But it's an important thing that we take some time out. And in today's world, it's difficult to retreat for 40 days. It's not easy. And if you've got a family or you've got other responsibilities, it really can be testing. But even if you can retreat for a couple of hours a week, or a day at the weekend, once a month, and you can retreat into a private space where you can be with Allah and be with yourself, perform spiritual devotion, perform prayers and dhikr, maybe read the Quran, this is highly beneficial and highly recommended. Not for extenuous periods of time. I mean, here it says 40 days. It's like, this is what the Naqshbandi sheikhs would do. But then afterwards, they would come out of their retreat and engage with the world. But if you have a practice like this, it helps you to center yourself, so that when you're engaging with the world, you're centered, you're not unbalanced. And it's very important we find that balance within within our lives. If we lack that balance, we will always have problems. But if we have that balance, even in the most testing of circumstances, we should come out all right. We begin with the kalima shahada. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. We seek Allah's forgiveness through the recitation of Astaghfirullah. Simply means that I ask Allah's forgiveness. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Astaghfirullah, 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 astaghfirullah. أستغفر الذي الذي لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم وأتوب إليه إنه هو التواب الرحيم. يا مسبب الأسباب، يا مفاتح الأبواب، يا مقلب القلوب والأبصار، يا دلائل المتخير، يا غياث المستخيث، يا غي يا قيوم، يا ذو الجلال والإكرام، وأفريد أمري الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. الرابط الشريفة. Direct your heart to the heart of your Sheikh. Fatiha Sharifa. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. Salawat Sharif. Praying for blessings upon the Prophet Muhammad Salam and his noble family. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala ali Muhammadin wa sallim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ala آل محمد وسلم اللهم صل على محمد وعلى 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 آل محمد وسلم. ألم نشرح شريفا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. إخلاص الشريفة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. فاتحة الشريفة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. صلوات الشكر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم 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 اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربي خاديتني من الملك ولمتني من وليها حديث فاتر السماوات والأرض أنت ولي في الدنيا والآخرة توفاني مسلما ولكني بالصالحين أمان بالله صدق الله العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. إلى شرف نبي وآله وصحبه الكرام وإلى وحي أنبياء والمرسلين وقدماء شرعين وإلى إمات أبواب وإلى مشركين في تلك نقشبندي أتياديا كستان الآلي وجركان الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. There is no God except God. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 la ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah, 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 Muhammadur Rasulullah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah, Muhammadun Habibullah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Habib Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Habib Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Nabi Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Nabi Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Nabi Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Shafi Allah, alayhi salatu la ilaha illallah. Muhammad al-Shafi Allah, عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد الشفيع الله عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد المصطفى عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد المصطفى عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا الله محمد المصطفى عليه صلاة الله لا إله إلا 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 الله حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم إلا شرف النبي وآله وصحبه الكرام وإلى وعلي صحبه سنتين وسلكيون الفاتحة بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين ذكر جلالة remembrance of God Allah 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل والقل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم حق 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم Hey, 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 hey. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الله الله حق 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 الله الله هي 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 الله يا قيوم 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 حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Calling upon Allah's beautiful names. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daif. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daif. Yahu, Yahu, Ya Daif. Allah, Yahu, Ya Daif. Ya Daif, Ya Daif, Ya Daif, Ya Allah. Pardon me. Ya Daim, Ya Daim, Ya Daim, Ya Allah. Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Allah. Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Halim, Ya Allah. Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Allah. Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Hafiz, Ya Allah. Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Allah. Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Latif, Ya Allah. Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu. Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu, Ya Grafa, Ya Grafu. Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Sata, Ya Fata, Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Allah. Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Mujib, Ya Allah. Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Allah. Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Mu'in, Ya Allah. Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Allah. Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Mughith, Ya Allah. Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Allah. Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Wadud, Ya Allah. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Rahim, Ya Karim, Ya Hanan, Ya Manan, Ya Hanan, Ya Manan, Ya Hanan, Ya Mannan, Ya Hanan, Ya Mannan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Dayyan, Ya Subhan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Subhan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Allah. Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Sultan, Ya Allah. Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Allah. Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Aman, Ya Allah. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Allah. Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Salam, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, 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 Ya Allah. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صلوات والشفاء. بسم الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد وسلم 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 صلي ربي وسلم على جميع أنبيائه ومرسلين وعلى كل أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين على أشرف الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات على أفضل الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات على أكبر الأنبياء سيدنا محمد الصلوات صلوات الله وملائكته وأنبيائه ورسوله وجميع خلقه على محمد وعلى آل محمد عليه وعليهم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته ولينا تبارك وتعالى سادتنا شامل رسول الله أجمعين وأن تبينا بهم بإحسان وأن إمتي مجتدين يوم الدين وأن علماء متقين وأن أولياء الصالحين وأما الشيخين بتلك نقشبندي آتيانية كذا صلوات ومزكية ونوضات على أجرة مباركة ودلاوة علينا من بركاتهم وقيوداتهم دائما والحمد لله رب العالمين الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا محمد وبارك وسلم. Ya Allah, we beseech you to shower your blessings upon the soul of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his noble family, his noble ancestors, his noble descendants, and upon all the previous prophets and their noble ancestors and their noble descendants, and especially upon the household of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Ahlul Bayt, upon the Sahaba Ikram, the righteous companions, the righteous caliphs, the scholars, the saints, and especially my sheikhs, Sufi Abdullah and Maulana Sheikh Nazim. Ya Allah, raise their stations in your divine presence, immerse them in your mercy oceans, and bless their souls for all eternity. And Ya Allah, I pray you shower the same blessing upon my beloved father and upon Sheikh Sharif Hidayatullah, all of the Wali Songo, Sheikh Yusuf, Sheikh Adang Badruddin, Gusto, Sheikh Didik. Ya Allah, raise their stations in your divine presence and bless their souls for all eternity. Ya Allah, bless our parents, especially our parents, our grandparents, and who took care of us as children. Ya Allah, look after them in their older years as they looked after us as children, and take care of them when they leave this earth and go to paradise. Ya Allah, shower your blessings upon our brothers and our sisters, our aunties and our uncles, our nieces and our nephews, and especially upon our beloved wives or husbands, beloved children, grandchildren, future generations. Ya Allah, shower your divine blessings upon our families. Shower your divine forgiveness upon our families. Shower your divine support upon our families, for surely we cannot cope without you, Ya Allah. Everything we have is from you, Allah. Everything we have received or will receive is from you, Allah. We are all from you, Allah, and we will return to you, Allah. We are absolutely in need of your help, your support, your forgiveness, your blessing. You holding our hands throughout our lives. We are absolutely in need of your support. And Ya Allah, forgive us for any moments of forgetfulness when we forget this. Forgive us for any moments when we make mistakes. Forgive us when we slip up. Forgive us for when we don't thank you enough. We are made weak, Ya Allah. This is what you told us in the Quran. Ya Allah, through your blessing and through your support, we may be strong ones, inshallah, but not through any of our own efforts. It's from your blessing, from your support, from you working through us. Only through this way will we be successful. Ya Allah, we ask that you shower your blessings upon all our friends, especially those who've been with us through difficult times, and all our loved ones. I would also, before I go any further, like to ask that you shower your blessings upon Haji Yaqub Ali, who served the Trinidad and Tobago Muslim community for over 50 years. I personally didn't know him, but he was a dear friend of some of my close friends. So I would like Allah, please, Allah, bless his soul for all eternity. Raise his station in your divine presence. And also, my friend Ullum, Pak Ullum, recently lost his father, and Ya Allah, make his father's soul's journey easy to Jannat al-Firdaus. Forgive his father for any sins or mistakes or weaknesses. Bless him for all his good deeds, and out of your generosity, love, and mercy oceans, Ya Allah, raise his station in your divine presence and bless his soul for all eternity. And Ya Allah, shower your patience, steadfastness, and constancy upon Haji Yaqub's and Ullum's family communities. And also, we pray for anybody who has passed away recently. Ya Allah, bless their souls, forgive them for their sins, Ya Allah, and bless their communities with patience, steadfastness, and constancy. Ya Allah, we ask you bless all of our communities, all of our friends, and bless everyone in our human family. Also, Ya Allah, bless Takani's Jewish community in Uganda, who are suffering really badly at the moment, Ya Allah. People dedicated to you through their own book and traditions, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, we pray for them, Ya Allah, that you will make things easier for them. And other communities who are suffering in places like Uganda. Ya Allah, we pray no one should be hungry on this earth. No one should be living in substandard accommodation on this earth, Ya Allah. We pray you make things easier for them, Ya Allah. And anyone who's going through difficulties, anyone who has lost loved ones, anyone who is suffering from depression or mental illnesses as a result, especially as a result of the unusual stresses and toll this past year. Ya Allah, we pray for everyone, Ya Allah. We make no distinction. We are all standing before you as human beings. Before any other distinctions, we're all brothers and sisters in a human family, so we pray for everyone in a human family. And we also pray for the other communities of life with which we share this earth, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, forgive us all for our weaknesses, for our inconsistencies, for hypocrisies, for the way we treat this earth, Ya Allah, and other human beings and other communities of life, Ya Allah. Whether consciously or unconsciously or indirectly. But all of us, through our actions, are having an impact upon other people and other communities and other life on this earth. And in many cases, in negative ways, Ya Allah, we seek your inspirations into our hearts, into our minds, as to how we can turn this situation around and live on this earth lightly, without stepping on other people, without stepping on other communities or the communities of life. Ya Allah, inspire us and inspire everyone in our human family and our earth to turn things around and implement a better way of doing things, which is more respectful and compassionate to everybody. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Fatiha. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladzina an'amta 'alayhim ghayril maghdubi 'alayhim waladdallin. Amin. اللهم بارك ثواب ما كورناه ونور ما ترونه ودية ووسيلة من أيروه نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وإلى أنبياء وإلى أولياء وإلى الشيخ عبد الله فايز الداغستاني وإلى مولانا الشيخ نازم وإلى صوفي عبد الله وإلى مولانا الشيخ هشام وإلى Gusto, وإلى الشيخ عدنان بدرودين وإلى الشيخ باتشا وإلى الشيخ حبيب الله وإلى الشيخ عدنان بدرودين وإلى الشيخ ديدي وإلى الشيخ داود وإلى الشيخ محمد ديل وإلى الشيخ نوكباني وإلى صريح سرتينا وصديقيون. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. That brings the Dhikr to a close, today's session to a close, inshallah. If you find these videos, live broadcasts useful, and you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe to my Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube channels. I go live on Instagram and Facebook on a Thursday evening for this Dhikr Sohbet, and the recordings are also posted to my YouTube channel and also to my website, paulsarmstrong.com. So please don't forget to subscribe to these to stay updated if you find this useful. I wish you all the very best. Have a lovely evening if you're in the UK, and wherever you are in the world, I wish you all Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.